you who is here. Oh,
Go
okay.
ahead.
For each one of you who is here, you're making a commitment to your career. And I'm going to position this in such a way that you have full access to me at any point of your resume development. You can either take away what we do here and run with it, or I'm available for multiple sessions with you. I want you to think back of your courses. How many papers have you written that are maybe anywhere between 4, 5, 10 pages? And it's work, but you sit down and you do it. You know the drill by this time. You can turn them in. You can do a group paper. You can do an individual paper. And the process flows fairly smoothly. Most people, when they sit down to their resume, it's a whole different animal. The guilt, I mean, the uncertainty shows up. How do I write this? I see 5 different formats. Which one's the correct one? What do I say about myself? How much do I leave out? What if it's more than 2 pages? How do I handle that? And what I have done, just so you know a little bit about me, I spent the first 2/3 of my career in the corporate business world. I did not grow up in the university, although I have a college degree and a graduate degree. So I was on the receiving end of resumes. And this is the best job I've ever had. I've been at Cal State for almost 20 years, and I absolutely love working with every one of you because I can be the bridge and show you an easy way to do this. So what I'd like to do is thank you so much for being here. I'm going to show you 2 samples of resumes. The first one's going to be a management resume. And with the exact same format, we're going to roll over to an accounting resume. You are not limited to those. We have resources for every single degree in the graduate or in the undergrad and the graduate programs at Cal State College of Business, JHBC. And what I'd like to do is give you permission to veto anything that you don't like that I do. I'm going to show you a format you may not have seen before, but I also want you to know that if you don't like what I'm going to show you, you can submit any type of resume that you particularly like, and I will work with that. It is not required you follow what I do. And if you don't like it, if it doesn't suit you, just veto it. All right. I want you to have full veto permission for anything that I show you. So having said that, what I'd like to do, Kirsten, would you please pull up the Holland resume? Okay, what you see here is a 1-page resume, and I want to go through it and break it down. You may not see resumes that look this way, but I want to tell you this comes from a field called information mapping of how to format documents so they're easy to scan and read. So if you look at the very center of the top, the student's name is there, Samuel M. Holland. On the left-hand side of the header is the physical address. On the right-hand side is electronic. So in a split second, your eye can see exactly which is electronic, which is physical. And you'll notice that on the resume, there are black lines delineating every single section. So your eye knows where your brain needs to shift gears. First, I'm looking at the skills, then I'm education, then I'm on professional experience. So let's go to the first section. The very first part of this, under the black line, is an objective. And resumes go through different fashions. You'll see on the internet, never put an objective. We like objectives. We hate objectives. We don't want them. We want them. None of that makes any difference. If you want an objective, what I would recommend you do is be very careful to make sure, oh, that's better, to make sure that your objective is focused towards the employer. So this objective says analytical and organized, skills-driven by integrity will be of value to your organization. And what you can do is you can define yourself in 2 separate high power words: profitability conscious, detail oriented, graduate, to increase productivity of your company, something like that. A job beggar, that's my term, a job beggar objective would be something like, I want a fast-paced job with rapid promotion where I can use what I learned in my courses. That's all about me. First of all, not every job is fast-paced and interesting. Most jobs have a boring aspect to them that we all get to do, and the rest of it is energetic or different, etc. We don't want to define who the employer has to be for us to be happy there. Now, the second thing, this next section where it says summary of knowledge, I want you to understand that this word knowledge is so valuable to you as students, because Your transcript has most likely advanced you in skill sets that you have not had a chance to use in the workforce yet. You probably have the same job, or you've got a similar job that you had before, and all of a sudden you're learning all of these new skills. I don't want that left off your resume. I want the employer to see what you are capable of doing through your papers, through the case studies you've done in your coursework, through different projects you've worked both individually and with teams. And so this word knowledge, summary of knowledge, allows you to bundle your academic skills with what you already are bringing from the workforce. What I'd like to show you also, there are 3 separate columns here, and each column is labeled with the bold and underlined heading. On the right-hand side or left-hand side is project management, middle business analytics, right-hand side business operations. All of the terms under each of those apply to the title above. The terms are not just thrown on your resume in random order. The other thing that I want to share with you is that every single term under those 3 columns are what's called keywords. That term is important because what happens is that resumes are now being screened electronically for keyword recognition. Let me close this. Oh, this will make it better. Oh, here we go. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's better. Okay. And what that does, that allows you to get 21 keywords within maybe 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches on your resume. The other thing that's really, really important is, why are they hiring you? They're hiring you to, you're in college, you can hit the ground running with what you put here. And then that gives you a chance to train up to the rest. You do not have to be an expert in every one of these fields in order to put these terms here. There's a level of confidence. Now, I know, especially in college, you go through your courses really quickly and you may recognize the terms, but you can't quite remember what they are. It's up to you to decide how confident you are in researching it quickly, and then, oh, it's coming back to you, and yes, I can put that on my resume. I'm not an expert in it, and they don't expect you to be an expert because you're a college student. But if you look at the terms on that resume, every single one of those are power terms. I'll be quiet for a minute. I want you to just scan those 3 lists across there, and you're going to recognize things you know how to do regardless of what concentration you're studying. Okay, so I want to point out a few things for you. This resume is organized so that the column project management on the left-hand side of the page is what the employer needs that the student has. That's number 1. The number 1, maybe 60% or 70% of the job is going to be project management. Business analytics is support skill number 1. Business operations is support skill number 2. This top section here is completely modular. Let's say they want you to be predominantly operations. Business operations column would then move to the left-hand side. And then project management goes to the middle, business analytic goes on the end. Let's say that they need you to do customer service and training. We're going to get rid of business analytics, and we can create a new column and plug it in there. So this solves the problem of applying for a variety of jobs that the employers may need different aspects of who you are and what you can do. You do not have to rewrite your entire resume. All you do is you change the top part of this resume and it becomes modular. And then you either rearrange those 3 columns, or you remove 1, 2, or 3, and you replace them with 1, 2, 3 others. You have more than 3 key areas of skills to offer your employer, and we're only choosing the 3 that they need the most, that you like doing the most. This makes resume writing super easy. And the other thing, it's really easy to scan. Let's set aside being in college. Let's go to the employers. Every one of you that's been in a job knows that business moves at the speed of light. People don't have time to sit around and read big walls of text with a highlighter, and bosses can't highlight the skills they need that they're capturing in this big wall of words. Usually during the interview section, what happens is people are handed the resume of 10 or 15 minutes before you enter the room, and they've got to understand who you are really quickly. This resume allows you to do that. You can read it, you as the employer or the interview committee, you can actually read this and scan it really quickly and get a sense of who's going to walk in the room for you. Go down to the second section. It's called education, and you'll notice, here's what I want you to notice. Your degree, your sacrifice, your hard work is bold and on top. MBA, management concentration, BA, business administration. And then the university is not bold, and it is underneath your degree. If you're about to graduate, what you can do is you can put your date on the right-hand side, expected December 2022. You don't have to put the months or anything, but that word expected immediately tells me that you set goals, you've got a target, and you're going to get this done. So instead of hope to get my degree, or maybe the quarter's over or the semester's over, that kind of thing, use that word expected. It's a real nail down word. And I like that because that allows employers to understand that you set and achieve targets. The other thing, if you have any kind of academic honors, such as cum laude honors or something like that, or if you are in your industry clubs, such as Society of Human Resources Management, American Marketing Association, Beta Alpha Psi for the accountants, or any of the other business clubs, you can stick that right under there. And that shows that even in college, you're already engaged in a professional way with these national organizations that support the professionalism of what field you're in. Then what I'm going to show you, Kirsten, if you could scroll down to the professional experience, please. Okay, first of all, I gave this resume for a certain example. First of all, everything you have done goes under professional experience. I'd prefer you not call it jobs or work I've done or work or something like that. The minute you sit in those college seats, you've already elevated yourself to a professional level. So even the pizza job, this guy was really interesting. He came to me, and all of these are student type jobs. So he's a pizza driver. He does the meal prep. He's a bingo server and a material handler in a warehouse. And you'll notice there's only 2 bullet points under each one of them. But what I want to talk to you about, look at bullet point number 1, produce $9,000 quarterly revenue to ensure profitability of store operations. Here's a pizza guy. How much does a pizza cost? I don't know, 10 or 12 bucks, something like that. But what I would suggest you do is that you're coming from the College of Business, and every business is driven by the accounting department, who gives each department their yearly budget, and they divide it quarterly. So I want you to think about measuring your own productivity, and I can help you with that. I can measure anything. I can measure tons moved in the warehouse. I can measure the amount of food served at Claim Jumper out there. I can measure pizza delivery, the miles you drive, if you're working as a driver, the miles you drive with 100% safety record, etc. But the fact that you on your resume are putting your measurements of whatever you're producing, that shows the people reading the resume that you understand their business. You're not just saying, I interpreted and analyzed data and I did this and this. You're actually giving them numbers. You are measuring yourself as a unit of productivity within your current business. That shows them that you not only know what the job is, but you know what I need from you, because you're aware of your own targets. You're measuring your own productivity, and you're showing that to me. The other thing you'll notice is that under the delivery manager, second job, increase sales by 10% by creating web-based marketing material, right there. Simple. These are not complicated things to measure. But what I wanted to show you, you notice you're not doing 7 or 8 bullet points under each job. You don't have to, because your high-level skills are listed above. The bullet points now become illustrations of projects or success you've achieved in the workforce. And it keeps your resume really easy to read. And again, you'll notice that this student, his delivery driver, delivery manager, bingo server, and material handle are bolded. The companies he worked for is underneath that, just like the university is under your degree. This becomes your marketing document. And then the other thing I wanted to show you, underneath that is called part-time student employment. Now, when we are fresh puppies out of high school, we take some kind of simple jobs. And what I want you to do is never be ashamed to put those on your resume, but you don't want to. And I'll tell you why. that shows them that you're a hustler. You are working while you're going to school. Secondly, you are valuable enough that employers hire you, that you've been hired repeatedly with these entry-level jobs, which means that you're reliable, you have integrity, you're honest, you do your work well, regardless of the status of the job. That tells them a lot about you. And so you can see if you have these sub jobs that you're not really proud of and you don't think you should stick on your resume, I would think twice about it, because look at this student's been hired 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 times at decent companies that you basically, and all you have to do is Superfood Town cashier, Paul's Garage Construction, Abercrombie and Fish, sales for the 3. And that's all they need to know. But it also shows the employer that you understand student jobs where you do daily tasks versus professional experience where you're doing projects and you're improving operations of some kind or another, and maybe you're working as a team and you're improving the company, whereas on the bottom one you just show in, plug, punch your time card and do your job. The other thing on this resume is volunteer and community service, Eagle Scout, and then service trip to Mexico. That's all you have to say, as simple as that. So on this one-page resume, you have everything you need to let the employer be interested in you. And also what you can do is that you can explain, you can add more detail in the interview. I had, before the lockdowns, there was a student who was an IT student, used this exact same structure for his resume for IT skills. He went to a career fair and Google was there, and everybody wants to work for Google. They had 5 people sitting behind the recruiting desk, and the line was going out the convention center, 5 lines of students wanting to elbow their way into Google. Our students stood in line, and none of the recruiters looked up, and they just said, thanks for your resume, thanks for your resume, thanks for your resume. And they're putting them in stacks over and over and over again. Our student stands up. He says hello to the recruiter. She does not look up. She takes one look at her resume. She freezes. She looked up at his face. She looked back down at the resume. She handed him back the resume and said, do you have 10 minutes? And he said, yes. And she said, my boss is standing behind the curtain. He'd like to speak to you. And she pulled him out of the line and sent him back to the manager in charge of recruiting. Because of that resume was so different. It was easy to read. It was one page. They got who he was right away. And he got interviewed right on the spot, and he actually got a good job at Google. Okay, so that's that resume. And then I'm going to show you the exact same version for a more senior employee that's for the accounting field. Now, this gentleman's been an accountant for quite a few years. And let's look at his objectives. Seeking a position in the accounting field where excellent analytical and technical skills can be utilized to improve and preserve the company's productivity. 100% employer focused. First column, finance. No, here's what happened. He's been an accountant and an operations guy for maybe 10 years. He came back to get his finance degree. So what goes in the left-hand column? His future direction is finance, supported by strong accounting skills, supported by operations. You see how that goes? The job he's applying for is finance. He's a very strong accountant and he's got operations experience. The other thing, and see, if you're in a field like accounting, there are state level certifications that get you into the field. Certified public accountant, certified financial accountant, CPA, CFA. When you graduate with your degree from Cal State, you probably don't have either one of those. So instead of calling this section education, what you can do is you can say CPA licensure progress. Now, what that tells the boss or the people looking at that is you've got a goal that you're not going to just be the basic accountant, that you're going to be a CPA. And the information there is CPA completion expected June 2014. Now, this is, it's an older resume, but that says, my goal is to do the Becker CPA review and get my CPA license. You don't know what educational support the people interviewing you might have for you. For something like the CPA license is expensive. And secondly, you have to have certain hours working under a certified CPA. If I'm in a CPA firm, I know who can sign off your hours, but I'm not going to tell you that in the interview, but I know you're not going to be my next bookkeeper. You could be my next CPA. You've already given me that information on your resume of your future plans. Then again, you have the same structure here. Now, when you scroll down to, so that, oh, and the other thing for the CPA review, you have to have so many semester hours, and you can see that he added up his semester hours and stuck it on there, because you need to have your semester hours at a certain level to even begin to apply for a CPA. Under professional experience, he's got 4 jobs listed, and you can see he's got his numbers there. In his current job, he completes 90,000 month-end bank reconciliations quarterly to ensure accuracy of accounts. Going down to the second job, he maintained $1 million budget for all IT departments at Cal State San Bernardino. And you don't need to have numbers in every one, but all of a sudden you realize that this gentleman can handle big money and he's not scared. Just like the first resume we saw with the $9,000 quarterly with the pizza deliveries. And then what I want to show you is the last 2 jobs do not have numbers in them, but you can see that it's important what he wrote there. I didn't know what the independent DJ entertainment was. I have a great job. I find out about all these different jobs, and I said to him, what in the world is that? And he got kind of sheepish, and he looked at me and he said, it's the cage wrestlers. And I said, you mean those guys that get inside the chain link cages and fight each other? And he goes, yeah, that's what this is. And he said, I am the accountant there. And the people who own this business, who own DJ Entertainment, they want the limousine and the cigars and the champagne, and they are doing top flight people from around the world and all this stuff. And he said, I'm the one that has to say no. And he's still working there, but he just did it. He just did it really nicely. He didn't say I'm the accountant for cage wrestlers, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it was just interesting that he chose to do that. So the next thing I want to show you is the cover letter that goes to any resume you do. Okay, this is the cover letter for the accountant's resume we just saw. Now, when you go online, what you see is 3 giant walls of text that are paragraphs. And what I would suggest is that the cover letter has to be easy to read. And every single thing on the cover letter is hard skills that you can perform at work. Now here's the rule in my world between the cover letter and the resume. You write your resume first, and then you never, ever, ever repeat on your cover letter what you have already written on your resume. Every single second, every line that you type up should give them one more piece of information about you. So you'll notice the top paragraph. Oh, let me show you. So on the top of your letter, you put you use your same header of the name and the address on one side, electronic on the other. Person's name and company. Under that, put the exact job title as it's listed. Human Resources has a different way of coding things. And your job is to get through HR without getting thrown in the trash or put in the shredder. You want to make HR's job really easy. So you know me as a career counselor, but my exact job title at Cal State San Bernardino was Student Services Professional 4. It doesn't say career, it doesn't say counselor, it doesn't say resumes, it's Student Services Professional. So when I applied for this job on campus, I put Student Services Professional 4, and then I put Career Center, and then I put the job code that the Human Resource, it'd be CC number 5724 is the job number that they posted online. And I put that right in the top line so HR didn't have to dig through my cover letter to find out exactly where to file me. The first paragraph is the general opening paragraph. Now, this part is really cool. There's 2 bullet points right below that, and you'll notice that there are 2 labels there that are not hard skills. The first one is called a credible support analysis. Prepared, analyzed, interpreted, corrected, and presented the university data to senior staff and faculty. So you label the soft skill that you do repeatedly and you define it. Training and mentor, educated and accredited over 150 college students to the professional standards of the radio industry. Now, What you have below that is an overview of skills. This is where you put 3 tiny columns here, which is the pattern for the resume for the big columns. But here's where you put software you can use. You can put your Excel skills, you put your leadership, you put your graphic arts skills, you can put your any of the software that you can program if you're in the IT department. If you're a marketing person, you can put some of the special things, some of the special techniques that you use in marketing that are not in your resume, such as market segmentation or brand management or something like that. And this really gets them interested in you, that you're serious, not only with your leadership, but with showing me what you can do as your day-to-day functioning in the business world. And then there's a traditional paragraph down there, and then you just sign it. What you'll notice on all of these documents, there's enough white space and everything is bold or underlined that a person can read who you are very, very quickly. Everything is not just a wall of text, all the same font. Now, when going back to both of those resumes, the top 3 columns, you might be asking yourself, where do I get these keywords, these power terms in my industry? What I have, and Kirsten just ordered a new set for me. I'm so excited about this. These are called career services worksheets. This is for the accounting field, and scroll past the first page, and what you see, if you look at the second page, can you get rid of the first page? There you go. Okay, scroll down. And what you have here are hundreds of keywords. Look at this. Anybody in the accounting field would look at these things and go, holy Moses, here's billing and collections. And it's all categorized, accounting areas of expertise. And there must be 250 financial management auditing, which you learn in your accounting classes. So you've got all the, look at these, you choose. And then this section right here that's called personal attributes. This is where you pick the words to put in your objective. Goal-driven, logical thinker, methodical, focused, honest, integrity, leadership abilities. And you put those 2 words up from this. Every industry or every career you have, the people there have a same set of personality traits and values levels, unless they're crooks or something like that, but that's not what we're into. But they will read those things in your objective, and they'll realize that you understand them. Detail oriented and integrity driven or something like that. Wow, how would you like that? So what I'd like to do is let you know that I have available the blank template for that resume format, if you like it. I have available these career services worksheets for every one of the degrees you're studying. I have samples I could show you from all the different majors. I just happen to pull 2 for this one. And then if you want to contact me separately, what I'll do is I will work with you personally. And the other thing about these resumes, you are not copying anything off the internet just because you don't know what to say. You are going to be 100% integrous. You are going to learn how to express your career in these terms, and also the productivity that we're going to measure are coming out of your own life. So your resume is going to be 100% customized to the life that you have lived, the credibility you've earned on your job, the productivity you've achieved, that we are copying nothing off the internet. This is 100% sourcing out of your own life. So my goal, interviews are nerve-wracking for some people, but my goal is when you go into that interview room, your resume is rock solid and you can answer any question about it because it comes from your life. You can recalculate those numbers for you because we'll do it together. You'll see how they're derived. You can explain in detail further aspects of what you do. And that will keep you focused on the interview and not worried about your resume. And you can actually refer to it because it's easy to refer to. Go to my second job under professional experience and you'll see that I did X, Y, and Z. And then you can tell a little story about it because there's not too much stuff on there. I'm not trying to brag, but I want to share this story with you, and everybody's individual results will be different. The MBA office forwarded a student to me. He was an alumni and he was an MBA student, and he was not getting any bites on his traditional resume, the one that he put together. And they sent him to me. and his field was logistics and warehouse management and that type of thing. And I started to work with him, and he loved this format, and you don't have to love it, but he loved this format. And we worked with him, and we listed his warehouse skills, his logistics skills. And then when I started to go through his professional experience, there were some things missing on it. And I said, what did you do before you did job number 4 at the bottom of your resume? He said, well, I was in the military, but other people have told me not to put that on there. And I said, let's back up the bus on that one. And we were able to take his military experience and bundle it into his resume. And I told him, which I will tell you, once you try this format, if you decide to go with this, and I'm not stuck on it, but it just happens to work well, is that I'm going to ask you to submit it to 8 to 10 people in 1 week, including companies you're not interested in. The only purpose of that would be to see if recruiters or employers call you back. The job of your resume is get a call back for an interview. This is your marketing document, and I want you to test it. And so this guy tested it, and he was pretty down in the dumps because he'd been trying to get a job, and he was working a bartending job at night just to keep the bills paid and gas in his car. And he emailed me after a week, and he said, I sent it out to 8 companies and I got 8 job interviews, and I was able to decline 2 because I wasn't interested in the companies. Now I'm going to take another week. I'm going to finish my interviews and narrow it down. And then 2 weeks later, after he had his 6 other interviews from this resume, he chose one company. Now he's had experience in the trucking industry and also in one warehouse situation and his military experience. And they brought him in as general manager of a food warehouse. And he's starting at just below $100,000 as his first job. And he just emailed me, and he said, and I told him, I said, this is your work. It wasn't mine. All we did was we put it in a format that the employers would recognize as being very valuable. Let me turn a light on here. There we go. That's better. But again, this template works, which is I'm showing it to you. It's also really, really easy to customize. You just rearrange those top 3 columns based on what the employer needs. And you don't have to rewrite your whole resume. And there's so many times when a hot job comes through, or somebody says, you need to apply for this. And you think, oh, geez, I got to redo my resume. I hate doing it. I don't know what to say. This way, you know exactly what to say. And I will give you career worksheets for every other career you've ever had. So if they need something from your past, like customer service or staff training or HR skills or anything like that, we got you covered. But here's what I would recommend you do. See if this works for you. If you're interested, we can provide you with the sample. I'm going to send this information to Kirsten. She can email it out to you. I have a blank template with the 3 columns already formatted and everything. You can have the sample resumes. And then if you email me, I will give you the career services worksheets for the careers you list that you feel you still want to do. Oh, here's another thing. We've all done things in jobs we never want to do again. I never want to do data input ever again. That's just not my cup of tea. I will never put that on a new resume. I'm only going to put stuff on my new resume that I'm still interested in doing. And some of that might be boring, but the rest of it's going to be pretty decent stuff. I'm not going to, just because I can do it doesn't mean, I'm going to say never again to data input. And I've never had to do a data input since then. Okay. And my life has been much, much better at work because I don't do it. So you might want to set those boundaries for yourself. So here's what's going to happen. Kirsten can send you the documents. You have my contact information. And then I'm on campus Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And my favorite kind of appointments are face-to-face. They're a lot faster. They're a lot more fun. If you can't do that, I also do Zoom calls, which look like this when it gets dark, okay? Because that's what it's doing outside. Zooms are absolutely fine. And I understand how they're convenient for people, and you're super busy with all your finals and the holidays and everything like that. We can take this up immediately. We can also take it up at the first of the year. I just want you to know I'm available, and this is what we can do. And you can either choose the format I've showed you with the reasons I gave you, or if you have the other kind of format that you just love, I'll work with that one too. Okay. Listen, I want to thank you so much for taking time for being here on this, this Zoom, this career training. you are investing in your career and there's nothing better for you to do. It just breaks my heart when I see students, the sacrifices you make for crying out loud of your time and your energy and the money going to college. And then all of a sudden you can't find a good job. You just, that's not okay with me. I'm sorry. It's just not okay with me. and this is not hard. It's really easy to do. I got your back on this. So anyway, what questions does anybody have about anything we talked about? You can post them and then maybe I can figure out how to use the chat. Let me see here. Chat.
Actually, we're happy to monitor the chat for you.
Oh, thank you,
Dr. Abell. And just so you all know, we have included Dr. Abell's email address. Please do check the chat. We encourage you to make an appointment with her, to reach out to her. She's very kind to offer to meet with you all if you're interested in having something customized just for you. And so does anybody have any questions for Dr. Abell? I have a question for you. I'm wondering, what are the common mistakes that you see students or even young professionals make on their resumes?
The first thing is usually the resumes are written from my own head because I'm sitting alone. It's 10 o'clock at night. I have to write a resume and I throw what I think the employer wants on the resume. And some of the things are irrelevant to the job. Some of the things are soft skills. And usually these are copied off the internet. And I can almost tell because it comes in this order on the resume. So it'll say teamwork, communication skills, problem solving, and work ethic. Snooze. There's no evidence to support any of those. And those are generic terms. When we dive deep into your past work experience and your college degree, and we can pull out those professional terms for what you've done in the past, and we put those on your resume, that they understand that you're at a whole different level than somebody who tried to do it at 10 o'clock at night. And I think, and the other thing is making everything a wall of words, just way too many words on the resume and all sorts of explanations. And so it would be low-level terms, foggy terms, and too many words. Listen, if you've been in the workforce, people don't have time to sit around with colored markers and study your resume and get to know you and then love you and bring you in for a resume. Usually on the way to the interview room, somebody hands them 5 resumes and they got, the interview committee is getting it as they're walking to the room and they've got to figure this out quickly. You know the speed of business. Let's respect that. Let's get in there and give them what they need right up front and see what happens is my idea. But I like I said, I'm not prejudiced against it in any other kind. But those are the biggest mistakes. Too many words, hard to read because there's no formatting, and then weak terms or fuzzy terms. And the other thing that happens, and I'll tell you, that all comes from, I'm going to share something. When I graduated from college, school was always pretty okay for me. And I graduated from college, and I've been working since I was 16, which was back in the Stone Age. And what I felt like, I got my college degree and I had my diploma in my hand, and then I looked in the mirror and I felt half-baked. I felt so immature on the inside, and here I had this college degree and I thought, how do I put these two together? And I didn't have anybody to help me. So what I ended up doing, I went back to what I was doing before, which is being a cashier. So I went back to being a cashier for about a year or so. And here I'm sitting there with a 4-year college degree, punching the cash register, and I'm thinking, this isn't okay. And then I got a hold of myself and I got serious with myself and I started to pull things together, and I got into the professional workforce, worked my way up, and the third part of my career is highly, I've been successful in everything I've done, but I'll never forget that feeling. And I don't want any of you to feel that way. And it's not hard. And it's just a matter of languaging it correctly in a professional way. And I was frozen for almost a year, stuck in this job, knowing that I was underselling myself. I was just talking to another young woman. She's been a manager for about the last 30 years, and she's applying for an entry-level job. And everybody's saying, you're overqualified, and she doesn't feel ready to go for the job that she's trained for and that her education is in. I'm seeing her on Monday and Tuesday of next week. We'll get her the job she deserves. I'm going to have a strong talk with her to step it up, but I can do that too, but I don't have to. But I don't want you guys to waste time. You're so smart and you're so talented. Seriously. That's all I've got to say. Any other questions? What other questions do you have?
I see a comment here from Rudy who
Yep.
says that he definitely wants to
Yep.
connect with you.
Yep.
And we'll definitely reach out to you. So Rudy, please do email.
Yeah, super.
Dr.
I don't have a
Abell.
scheduling system set up, and usually people who do resumes need it right now. Usually people don't start months ahead. It's I've got an interview next week. I need my resume, so it's last minute stuff. But Rudy, I would love to meet you. First appointment's usually an hour. So we get to know each other and I can give you the materials and we can get the first half of your resume built. Second appointment is polishing the top half of your resume and then getting your job skills listed, your productivity and your numbers and things like that. So that's what you can expect.
That sounds great.
Super.
Thank you.
Super.
We have a question from Kimberly. She is asking if you just started your MBA program, would it be beneficial to add that to our resume, or should you wait until it's closer to being done?
Kimberly, if I were you, you're going to finish your MBA. There's no question about it. So what I would do, I would put MBA expected 2024 and put your concentration there, because that shows that you've got a goal, you're going for it, and it's a given you will do this and that you're taking that next step in your life. I would definitely put it on your resume, even if you've just started. I mean, that's me, because that tells them so much about you, is that you're not just going to sit and plug in. You're not going to retire on the job. You're not just going to sit there and mess around at work, that you see leadership in yourself, you seek competence and growth and development for yourself. If I could write your resume, it would go on there without a question, but it's your life. And so I'll only push you, but I won't make you.
That's such a great recommendation. Thank you.
Well, if we don't have any more questions for Dr. Abell, we will be respectful of everyone's time. I know everyone's tired Friday evening.
Yeah.
We thank you again for joining us and providing all this very useful information and further services to the students. So this will be posted on YouTube at a later date. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful evening.
Bye-bye, everyone. It's jet black up here.